Hi, I'm Yoly Heisler, and I'm at the Akronist studio with Dan Horrigan, who's running for mayor of Akron. Welcome to the studio, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
We have a few questions for you.
Sure.
Trying to get our viewers to get to know you.
Okay.
And my first question is pretty easy. Akron's a unique place, okay? So it only stands that we need a unique mayor. What makes you uniquely qualified to be mayor of Akron?
Well, as a longtime city resident, 52 years, grew up here and raised my family here. Have three daughters. I think it's my experience as a classroom teacher, as the clerk of courts for the last 8.5 years, and on city council. There's also, I think, a breadth of knowledge that I've been able to gain for the last 15 years of public service, even 20 in the 2 years of private teaching high school. Part of it is I've always approached it as a customer service, and it seems like it's when you have customers, whether it's students in the classroom or whether it's the attorneys and the judges that need to use the courts or the residents, it's always about their needs first. The transparency of the office, especially in the clerk's office, everything's available as far as via public record. I think when you create that kind of atmosphere and culture, it just reduces a lot of, not necessarily the complaints, but people need access to their elected officials and they need access to government. I've never thought that it should be difficult to find that access. If you need it, you should be able to find it. In today's technology world, we've developed applications on our website that you can just use it with a smartphone. And probably, I think, they have to be one of maybe very few in the country that have been able to do that. I think that sets me apart, makes me more unique than the other candidates.
Okay. Now, Akron is a little different than most cities. We have a mayor's office and we have city council. A lot of people are kind of confused as to how the two work together. What does the mayor do in regards to policy and city council?
The mayor is the chief executive for the city. He's responsible for, quite frankly, he's not only for the public safety, but also safeguarding for our future. His job, or her job, if they would be a female, would be, to continue to attract jobs. You have to execute those laws that are passed too. I've always likened it as an analogy that they're co-equal branches too. And I, having spent 7.5 years on council, or 7, excuse me, kind of like a board of directors. You set the policy and the direction, and the mayor's office goes and executes those laws. The mayor's office also can have ideas for passing legislation, and we did that hundreds, if not thousands, of times. In the history of the city, believe me, they've done it. It's about doing some of those things that happen every day, whether you're paving streets, whether you're replacing water lines, all of those different things. It's the mayor's job to set that direction. He provides the leadership, along with council, because like I said, they are co-equal branches, and they do work together to move the city forward, and that's been a primary theme. With the experience on council and the clerk's office, you can kind of get a sense of how things need to move forward a little bit better.
You touched on the livability of Akron. Akron is a very great place to live in. A lot of people consider it to be very affordable. But our demographic keeps getting older.
Right.
How will you draw in a younger population, a younger citizenry, and keep them rooted here, not just while they're in school, but while they're having children, retiring, right up into their old age?
As a fourth-generation Akronite, as I'll call myself, there are many great neighborhoods in the city. What we have to do to attract millennials, I think, or the younger generation, is first of all we have to ask them, what's going to get it to keep you to stay? Why do you want to stay here? Well, we have to be able to have those jobs for them to be able to stay. Good paying jobs. I want for them what I want for all the residents, including my kids. You want them to be able to have good jobs. You want them to be able to have affordable housing, transportation to work. All of that, I think, and it's so much of it is interconnected. When it comes to the university, when it comes to the hospitals, all of that. But jobs are key. Nobody's going to stay where they're not going to work. And being able to attract those jobs, but you also have to engage the younger generation to ask them, besides just jobs, what else is it? Is it transportation? Is it the arts? It's culture? All of that starts with a conversation. I had one a couple of weeks ago of which you were attended, and I firmly believe it's not the first conversation. It needs to be just the start of a dialogue. You need that input at this particular level so you can help set policy and direction so it doesn't, Akron's a welcoming city, and it needs to be welcoming for everybody, not just, refugees or somebody or that category. It needs to be we need to highlight our diversity of our entire community. That includes millennials, African Americans, every
Demographic?
yeah, every demographic, our LBGT community, that diversity makes us a great city.
It's true. Now, we've heard a lot of talk about walkability, and you kind of touched on that a little bit. You know, the ability to be able to walk through the city, go to the grocery store, go wherever. But what about workability? The ability to work in or around where you live.
And that's another thing when I think it segues into accessibility. Having, I know there's a strong demand for housing downtown, but the thing, and it's something that I'm going to pursue vigorously, because if people want to live downtown, you want to be able to provide that opportunity. But you can't just have people living downtown without the services to be able to have that. So there are some development opportunities, I think some very good ones, but you don't want to do anything without some sort of plan. I don't want to go in and say, okay, let's build an apartment building here, or work with a developer and they want to do something. You want to have a plan of how this all works. If housing is going to be in one area, our culture is going to be another. You want to have, they all have to be linked somehow. And if you look, a lot of those pathways have been linked with the hike and bike or with the towpath trail as they are getting closer. We need to be able to explore those links and keep pushing them out. As an avid bike rider, I've found so many cut-throughs on the trails to be able to get home. The problem is that once you go downhill, you got to come back up, and that's been the hard. It's not hard. It's just like you got to plan for, unless you're coming over the bridge. We have to keep developing those links, but that's also the collaboration with the parks and with the county and every other neighborhood that needs that linkability, I guess I would call it, with workability. So you are able to work close to downtown. It's also the expansion of our bike lanes. I mean, I love bike lanes. It gives you that little 3 or 4 feet where you feel comfortable, as opposed to right next to that curb. And I think once you can do that, as we expand those bike lanes and expand that all linkability, I think it makes this the city much more of a workable and workability city.
Well, thank you. You've given us a lot to think about.
I hope.
Is there anything you would like to add?
No, I thought your questions were good. I appreciate you having me down here.
Oh, thank you very much. Good to see you.